Howdy, y'all, and welcome to Week 7 of the Shake and Bake Racing Club Multi-Series Challenge here on Forza Motorsport. We are at Watkins, Glen this week. Both cars are running at the same exact place, so we're going to have some exciting racing. They're both at the shorter version, not running the boot. We're running the NASCAR edition, so there are going to be some very fast lap times, some high speeds, and these drivers are going to have to negotiate some, maybe the road racing version of pack racing, because these times figure to be extremely quick, especially in the touring cars, but even over here in the GT cars where we've seen a little more spread in the lap times. I think we're going to see some very, very tight racing amongst our field here. But before we get to following what is happening in qualifying, you can see Ferrari 94 with a 109.9 currently on the pole by about 0.3 of a second over JC, who has a really nice lap on the board. Legit Frozen Toes, Nikki, and Jacob, our other drivers who have put a lap down. Let's see if we can get out there just for funsies and take a little bit of a lap around. People that are used to racing, I know, not really known in sports cars, they've used a boot, but I think for most of anyone who's going to happen upon this, they're going to know the NASCAR version of this racetrack. But let's head out there anyway, just for fun. Make sure there is no one around me, and it doesn't appear there is. So, just a nice, slow, easy lap as I am checking all of my stuff around me. Well, you know what? That's what we call a beautiful start. So anyways, off the final turn, down the straightaway, take the start-finish line, into turn 1, get down here. For the race, they're actually going to be allowed to go all the way out to the blue wall. These are NASCAR rules, but for qualifying, it'll dirty your lap, so they're going to have to keep it within the rumble strips. Flat out through here, maybe a little burp of the throttle if you get a little wide. Then long on throttle down to the bus stop. It's going to be a very interesting place, very easy to lose time here. Through the carousel, one of the most fun corners on the racetrack. You can tell I have not made any laps at all. Drivers will be able to swing out there during the race. Now, straightaway, forego the boot. A deceptively fast corner here. You're going to have to get back to the left side, so you're set up for the final corner. This wall on the left comes at you really fast if you are carrying too much speed on exit. And that is a lap around Watkins Glen. That is the type of lap they will be making in both the GT and the touring car tonight. Let's go and head back into the booth. 2 minutes remain in the session. Leaf Justin 24 has taken the lead in qualifying with a 109.6. Ferrari 94 still maintaining second. Mayor of Back City has moved into third with a 10 flat. Barely edging out Legit Frozen Toes 24 in fifth, with JC in sixth. All of our drivers have put a lap down besides Stanton Drums 94 and myself, but I obviously do not count. Not sure what the tire strategy is going to be today. Usually for the GT cars, it has been pretty much medium tires all season long, but I think we're going to be looking at a possibility of soft, especially if we get a yellow flag, which is definitely possible with the tight racing I imagine we're going to have. Really, with the long straightaways, this is going to be a lot about the race car you have chosen, a lot about the natural speed that car has. So, in theory, looking at the ratings, the Corvette should have a market advantage, but as we're seeing here in qualifying, the Corvettes seem to be struggling. The best of the bunch is JC, who has fallen down to 8th since the start of the session. Skyland 4 currently in that second position. Session is about to end. Leaf Justin maintains the lead. He will be on the front row, along with Skyland. Solid performance out of those two. All right, here we go, heading into the grid. Here we go. Leaves Justin 24 with the pole, the 109.6. Skyland 4 will be alongside him on row 1 with a 109.8. Row 2 will be Ferrari Nut 94 with a 109.9, alongside Mayor of Back City with a 110.066. Legit 14 starts 5th with Frozen Toes 24 behind him in 6th. Stanton Drums 94 with a 110.2 will start 7th. While JC with a 110.2 as well will start 8th. Again, these times all really close, really tight. Scarface 3D with a 10.4 will roll off 9th. Nikki 2000 with a 71.0 or a 111.0 will roll off in the 10th position. Jacob X99 will be in row 6 with a 111.0. Dion 4Dub will start 12th in his little Hello Kitty car. And then shotgun on the field with a 114.7 is Sober David. And looking through the field, it appears all of these drivers are going to be on the medium tire to start this race. No one opting to gamble on the softs. So I imagine in practice the softs tended to fall off just a little bit. Alright, here we go. Getting ready to go green. Again, we will have a pace lap for these drivers to figure out their, their running order, get the car warmed up, all that good stuff. Gonna have to get loaded in here. Alright. Zero. Alright, here we go. Again, we will follow Leaf Justin here as he makes this pace lap in his bright orange and black BMW. Again, the drivers here are going to go wide out of turn 1, I believe, to dirty this lap so that this lap doesn't end up being listed as their best overall lap, as Forza prioritizes quote-unquote clean laps, laps where they stay within the racing boundary, and the area outside of the rumble strips and the exit of turns 1 and turn 7, I believe it's called, are both legal for us, but illegal according to Forza's built-in rules and regulations. And you can hear some guys bouncing off of each other, really difficult to maintain pace speed. They're going to be all on top of each other. This is going to be a little bit difficult of an area to get through. Let's see if they have any issues whatsoever. See if there's anyone we can point and laugh at here. Actually do the practical thing and get single file. So again, we are skipping the old boot. One of my favorite parts of the racetrack to run, but this was made to promote some interesting racing. We'll see if that ends up working out in our favor. But only 2 more corners to navigate. Remember, they will go green somewhere in between the pit entry wall, the start of the pit entry wall, I should say, and the start-finish line. It will be any point on our leader to start this race. They head off the final quarter. Here we go, 21 laps at Watkins Glen. Here they come barreling down the start-finish line. They're off. Leaf Justin 24 with a nice jump on the start here. We'll go off into the corner, see if there's any contact between anybody. Sounds like a clean start. A big old gaggle of race cars going through the S's. They get it single filed out somehow. Meanwhile, Leaf Justin leads them off into the bus stop. He's running a defensive line on Skyland. Skyland able to motor around him on the left side. They're going to almost make some contact, but Skyland able to take the lead. Trying the crossover is Leaf Justin. Not going to be able to pull it off. Justin now stuck in his wake through the carousel. Trying to pull over. He's going to knock out some cones. I don't know what that cone did to him. It was even an orange cone, his favorite color, but he decided he was going to knock it out of the way anyway. Not able to make a lunge. Skyland 4 getting super loose. Justin able to capitalize, get to his outside. He will have the outside lane on corner exit. Skyland puts him in the wall. Skyland 4 puts Leaf Justin in the wall. That's going to allow Ferrari Nut an opportunity to get by both of them. I think Skyland opted to let him go. Now they're going to go 3 wide into the corner. Leaf Justin able to maintain the lead on the outside. Ferrari Nut and Skyland, they are side by side now. They get single file going up through the S's, but some wild, wild action out of our front 3 already early in this race. Once again, Skyland able to take the lead. That car has so much pace. The BMW is, or the Porsche, I should say, is dominant. Absolutely dominant up the S's. So much speed out of that car. Once again, Leaf Justin on his bumper, a much smoother set of corners there out of Skyland. He's able to maintain the lead. Meanwhile, Ferrari working all over the right rear of Justin's BMW. Karch continues to lead Skyland, while Everett and Williams follow behind. Meanwhile, some contact, I think somebody got in the wall, maybe. You can see side-by-side 3 wide action through the S's. I believe that's Frozen Toes who has to bail out, but she's going to try to work her way back to the left side of Mayor of Bag City, not able to do so, as the Fox camera crews zoom in on the race cars where you can't see anything. Mayor of Bag City with a lunge on JC, not able to pull it off. JC doing a nice job. Now Mayor got in too deep. Frozen able to give him a little bit of room there. They gather it up. Now Scarface almost bump drafting Frozen Toes through the carousel. That's going to allow her to make the pass on Mayor of Bag City, but Mayor going to attempt to dive back onto the inside. Not going to make it happen. Frozen Toes moves into the 7th spot. Mayor of Bag City back to 8th with Scarface in 9th. Those 3 are going to continue fighting each other. But meanwhile, Skyland has just absolutely pulled away. Let's see some, this is going to be a racetrack where you're going to want to take care of everything. So much speed. If you even hurt anything on the car, your tires a little too much, your engine, any amount of your race car, it is going to hurt you. Ferrari Nut doing everything he can to try to hold off Leaf Justin. Let's see if Justin is suffering from any issues here. 8.7 engine damage, so that explains why he has lost so much ground and he's not able to keep up. And that also shows that honestly shows the advantage that these cars have over that Viper. The Viper very strong in more twisty, turny racetracks, but here at the long straightaway racetrack that is Watkins Glen, a lot of straights, Not a lot of corners, not a lot of opportunities to make up speed, except with raw power. The Viper, unfortunately, just does not have that. But even with that deficit, the BMW able to hang with him with 8.7 damage. Now you can see he's starting to lose it. So this BMW started on the pole, but has watched this race already slip away. Needs a caution to get an opportunity to fix that race car. We'll see if he gets it. We have a good battle going through the bus stop. Legit was looking to the inside of JC, but not able to make the lunge. Let's get on board of Legit here. JC looking all around again. This is a track where pre-race people were thinking that the Corvette was going to have somewhat of an advantage, but Legit, not sure if he let him go or if he was just trying to run a defensive line and the Corvette just had too much top-end power at the end of the straight. But either way, JC able to pull off the pass and move up one more spot. You can see a little bit of engine damage on this race car as well. So very, very easy to make a mistake, lose some ground, lose some durability and some integrity in the important parts of the race car. And even with the ability to use all the racetrack out of turn one, really honestly, you can, it's almost better to run it a little tight, maybe you know, take it easy on the wheel, don't scrub off the tires. So it's a lot of different schools of thought you can have to make lap time through these corners that have long areas of runoff. Let's go back here to Frozen Toes, running with Nikki. A couple of good battles. You can see up there Scarface and Mayor of Bag City on top of each other. Meanwhile, Frozen Toes 24 with a nice run out of the carousel. She moves to the outside of Nikki. He's going to try to hold her off. Runs her really tight. Gets a nice lunge into the corner. Puts it in the dirt. Frozen with a nice crossover, but Nikki able to hold her off for now. Now, once again, she's in a good position to cross. Nikki with a nice exit. Really smooth, able to hold her off. Maintain that 9th position. Good battle for the 11th spot. Sober David looking to the inside of Jacob X99. Keeps it down on the racetrack. Jacob going super wide there. They maintain side by side through the S's uphill. Speed in that Corvette, allowing Jacob to get back around Sober David. They're going to head down into the bus stop. David maybe going to look to the inside, maybe looking for his marks, maybe looking to try to lunge. He's going to get down in there. Nice job of Jacob to give him room, but then gets dirt and slides into Sober David. That pushes David out into the dirt in the exit, the back half of the bus stop. That allows Dion 4Dub to pull in, but he gets on the dirt. We have an excellent battle back here for the 11th spot. David seems to have a little bit more pace than the Corvette through the corners, but that yellow machine up in front of him just has a lot of pace down the straightaway, handling really good in a straight line, as they say. Able to maintain that lead. Or not lead, but that lead of this group. David gets in super deep, using all the racetrack he can, just not able to maintain it. Has to get off the throttle just a little bit. That allows Jacob to pull away. Dion now on his bumper, hounding that Irish flag colored BMW. And they are racing hard up here for the 9th position. Nikki with a defensive line going into the bus stop. That's going to help him get a 3-car length lead over Frozen Toes 24 as she got into the dirt a little bit sloppy through the bus stop, but a nice carousel to help rebound. She gets a lot of speed down the I guess the back straight, or the second back straight if you wanted to call it that. Still not able to do anything with that golden colored Corvette. Now a nice run off the final corner. She's going to look to the right side of Nikki. Going to try to dive it down in there, but Not able to do so. Nikki pinches her off just a little bit. Some great racing here between these two. Meanwhile, you can see behind, David has managed to get around Jacob. So move him up into the 11th spot. Now he is looking for a top 10 position. The driver who has moved up has been JC. As we've been kind of following the back of the pack, he has slowly made his way from the middle up to toward the front. Now he has got his sights set on the wounded BMW out in front of him. Yeah, I think that BMW, short work is going to be made of it. He has completely lost touch with our leaders, falling into the clutches of JC, who has been moving forward. It's going to be tough with that engine damage for Leafs Justin to be able to maintain that position. Might fall back as far as 6th before this race is said and done. And off into turn 1, a little bit of a blink out of Stanton Drums there. Looked like iRacing for a second. Stanton making a bit of a charge back at the Corvette. And the Fox camera crews zoom in on the race cars, so we can't really see anything. But JC pulls out nothing that the Beamer can do. Tries to maintain through the bus stop, but that will move JC into a podium position. Now Leafs Justin gonna have to hold off the fellow BMW of Stanton Drums, as well as Legit behind him. There we go, Stanton with a big lunge, some contact between the two. They're side by side. Behind him, Stanton with that little bit of a mistake, dove it in there just a little bit hard. That ended up hurting him, and now Legit on his right side. He's going to try to dive it down underneath him as they go side by side, but not able to complete the pass. Stanton with a good launch off of the corner. He will maintain the 5th spot and try to take back that 4th position. Check in with our leader here. A minute ago, it was down to a 2nd, but maybe in a small mistake out of the Viper has pushed Ferrari Nut back about 2 seconds. Doubled that gap that he now has that has now formed between Ferrari Nut and Skyland. Both have left pretty much the entirety of the field in the dust. You can see in the leaderboard, Stanton Drums has been able to make that pass on Leafs Justin as they head down the straightaway. Not able to make a lot of hay there down the straight. Maybe a little bit of damage on Stanton's BMW. We could always check and see. Nope, that car looks nice and clean, but he gets into the wall there. On corner exit, these guys driving it for everything it's worth. You can see the tires a little over 30% as far as the wear goes. As we have crossed halfway, that's honestly pretty close to being in a tough spot. We'll have to see how this plays out as far as the tire wear goes, but if you get to about the 50% mark, oh, and you can see Leafs Justin going wide. He is really trying to do everything he can to make up ground to try to offset the damage that his car has, but nothing he can really do. Legit gonna go to his right side. Justin with a defensive line on the left side, but not sure there's gonna be anything he can do about it. He's gonna try to maintain with him, try to hold it down, but Legit able to complete the pass around the outside to move into the 5th position. That will move Leafs Justin back into 6th. And with 7 laps still, or 8 laps still to go, 9 to go actually, 9 laps still remaining. There's a lot of time for Leafs Justin to continue losing positions and continue to lose ground that he does not want to. Meanwhile, let's go back to here. Frozen Toes has been able to work her way up to the 8th position. Nike in 9th Silver David in 10th, and it looks like we've had an issue with Mayor of Back City. That's why the running order has moved up here. He has fallen back into the 12th position. Let's see if that car is hurt at all, or if it was just a spin. Now the car looks all right. Minor engine damage. Again, that's a common theme amongst our field here this evening. Frozen Toast continues to hold her gap over Nikki and Sober David. David looking for a way around the golden Corvette. Nikki very loose off of the final turn. Will David be able to use that? Nikki runs a defensive line down the front straightaway, trying to break the draft. He tries to lunge it in on Frozen. Maybe a little easy into that corner was the purple BMW. They work their way up the S's. David trying to find any way around. Looking to the left, looking to the right. Maybe a little bit through. I don't know if there was contact there, but the rear end of that Corvette looked very light. David all over that Corvette. Now looking to the right side, not going to be able to do anything. Looking to the left, not able to do anything. These three still on top of each other, still the closest battle on the racetrack, except for maybe this battle for third. As Stanton Drums is hounding that Corvette. BMW versus Corvette seems to be a common theme around the racetrack. Stanton looking to the left side, trying to find an opportunity to cross all over the bumper. Those two making a lot of contact at the exit of the S's. Will Stanton be able to make a lunge here? He will not, as they head through the S's, or through the bus stop. Stanton having to make a slight evasive maneuver there not to get into the rear end of the Corvette now. Not using all the racetrack on corner exit. That little bit of grass comes at him really fast. Still just not able to do anything. The little bit of contact there, the rear end of the BMW was completely hung out. Now he's able to make the cross. It looks like maybe the handling on that Corvette starting to go away. Maybe the tires aren't working to JC's delight, but either way, that will move Stanton Drums into a podium position. But he is about 8 seconds, 9 seconds behind our leader and 6.3 seconds behind second place. Yeah, the tires on the Corvette are in bad shape. I don't believe he's going to be able to make it to the end here without a pit stop, if I'm honest. Meanwhile, Ferrari Nut, he knocks out a cone, it looked like. He's doing what he can with that Viper, but just has nothing for the Porsche. Tires looking pretty solid on that race car. Not quite to 50, almost there. Almost to that first threshold. Meanwhile, the Porsche, not even to 43. Those tires are looking excellent. The Porsche is just meant for this racetrack the way that it is built, and he is really putting down some nice lap times and really driving away from the field as the clouds in the distance starting to loom a little bit. Starting to look like maybe some rain on the way. I don't think it'll get here by the time that our race ends, but it's looking a little scary out there in the sky. I don't think that's going to hurt Skylin very much as he continues to lead this field. Meanwhile, Lee Shustin has not lost touch of legit, even with that engine damage that he suffered earlier. Still holding on to the 5th position, and you can see legit getting into the dirt there. I think maybe the tire is starting to go away on that BMW. Tires starting to go away on Leaf Justin's BMW, as you can see. We're over 50%, over that first threshold of grip loss. Oh, look at that. Legit's car actually looking really good. Has less engine damage than the Beamer behind him. Leaf Justin just driving that thing for all it's worth, trying to stay with him. They are side by side down the front straight now. He tucks back in line, not going to be able to make the lunge into turn one. Those two all over each other as they head up the S's. See as they head down into the bus stop. Leaf Justin able to gain some ground there, get up to his rear end, but this 14 machine able to get a nice run through the carousel. Leaf Justin tried, it looked like, to late apex it just a little bit, but not able to get the front of that car to hook up. Legit still maintaining that fourth position. A very strong run for him, a run that he's needed. Leaf Justin in that overall championship battle, not the run he wanted. Started on the pole, looked like he was going to be one of the drivers to beat, but damaged his engine. Likely a short shift. Or not a short shift, but a double shift, a money shift. And that has hurt his opportunity to win this race. Of course, his tires starting to fall away as well. So our pole sitter struggling, a driver that is not struggling at all. Let's go back to our leader, Skyland 4. He is on his own little Sunday drive on a Wednesday night. It makes sense when you don't think about it. Currently all by himself. You can see the Viper back in the back, but this Porsche just built for the way this racetrack runs. Ferrari Nut driving for all it is worth. Just not able to maintain that same pace. You can see behind Ferrari Nut, we have a couple of drivers a lap down. Mayor of Bag City and JC have both had to pit at some point during this race, either for damage or for tires. Now they are battling for the last position. Likely on soft tires, should have some really nice pace, but again, here at Watkins Glen on the short course, not really that important as far as side grip works. So as far as corner grip, a couple of Corvettes battling it out for the 9th position between Jacob and Nikki. Jacob with a pretty healthy lead, a nice first turn, but a little wide through the first part of the S's. He's going to use that, though, to get back down to the bottom. Work his way up. The second half of the S's, he is trying to run back down Sober David, who has lost some ground on Frozen Toast 24 since they were battling a little bit earlier. Scarface up ahead of her by 2.6 seconds. Again, we were expecting the Corvettes to perform a lot better tonight, but they just have not quite been able to pull it off. As we are here at the final lap, didn't even realize that was the final lap. Skyland 4 able to win this race. Or no, it's just the final lap now. Haha! Anyways, you can see Ferrari Nut using every bit of, well, that was actually Mayor of Back City using every bit of racetrack he could. Honestly, the best race on the racetrack is between JC and Mayor of Bag City. And they might actually be a lap away from each other, so well, I'm not 100% sure they're even on the same lap. Jacob's been able to run down Sober David here. It looks like Dion Fordub is going to maintain his position on the lead lap. Let's battle for 8th. Jacob pulls to the right side of David. Those two make some serious contact through the bus stop. They're going to go off course, but we're going to move back to Skyland as he comes off the final corner. A dominating victory made it look easy. We're going to have to talk to him and ask him how easy it really was. Ferrari Nut comes across the line in second place. You can see Stanton Drums up ahead of Legit. He comes home in the third position. Legit fourth. Leaves Justin after his issues. Probably not going to be happy with a fifth, but with that damage, probably the best he could have done. Scarface comes home in the sixth position. Frozen Toes in seventh. Jacob able to get around Sober David after all of the contact they had. And you can see their AI cars really angry with each other. Don't know if the real drivers are that mad. You can see Nikki in 10th. Dion 4Dub has not quite been able to finish this race, but he's going to finish on the lead lap and bring it home in 11th. These two are still going. I think they still have control over their race cars as they bounce off of each other. Yeah, that is somehow for position, even though that's not how that should work. Oh, they're making serious contact with each other. I think they're playing around a little bit as they hit the start-finish line to finish their race. So once again, Skyland, Ferrari Nut, and Stanton Drums 94 is your top three.
Yeah, those first opening few laps gave me some hope, and then was like, okay, well, because like through the carousel you kept sliding the back end, and that was where I was gaining everything.
Yeah, weight was too much brakes. Back would just slide, but once the weight came out of it, and I kind of got my rhythm and stopped hitting the brakes too hard. Fine.
Yeah, because my best lap time was a 1:10.1. Terrible.
Well, that certainly was a race.
Terrible.
That was wild.
I couldn't break 1:9.
Well, now that I'm here with you guys, let's see if we can talk to our podium about how that race finished. Skyland, that was... it seemed like your car was custom built for this racetrack, the way it was presented to us. So, talk about your race. Was it as easy as it looked? Was the car driving you? Were you just in the zone? What happened there to help you win this race like you did?
Well, I'm getting spoiled rotten by this thing, because, yeah, it's really fast here. It's not a walk in the park. It's still quite sensitive, and to run good times consistently, there's a red line that it has drawn in the sand, and it's very adamant that it doesn't want me going over it. So there was a lot of just a little bit too much brake pressure, and the car would start sliding. I had one moment in turn one with a few laps to go where I almost just junked the car. But compared to what it sounds like everybody else was up against, I got the really easy end of the stick here. I don't really know what to say other than it's going to be real sad when we go back to cars that I don't have this advantage anymore, because this thing is fun, and it's not always an advantage. Sometimes it's a liability. Daytona, but when it works, it works. It works real well. I am disappointed that Justin got some engine damage in there, and I think we would have had one heck of a battle. He was real quick with that BMW.
That is Skyland, who was musing for more of a battle, but it wasn't meant to be. But hey, you know, a win's a win. He continues to dominate this series. We'll move over to Ferrari Nut 94, who's given it everything he could in the Viper, but was second all that thing had.
Yeah, that was all she had. I mean, just got beat by a faster car. That's all I can say about it. I'm getting yarded 4/10, 5/10 up the straight between turn 1 and the bus stop, and there's nothing I can do about it. So, not much else could be done there. Just beat the absolute living hell out of this car and come up short still.
And that is Ferrari Nut 94, who finished in second. We'll move quickly over to Stanton Drums 94, who came home in third, the first of the Beamers. Talk about your race. You had to work your way through some traffic there, came up a few spots from where you started. Talk about your night at Watkins Glen so far.
Well, I know the track, but I didn't get a lot of practice on it in these cars since the last time I've raced here, so it was kind of going at a disadvantage. I had 2 laps of practice and the 2 qualifying laps, and it started back in the field. Should have been more aggressive, not saying like what I should have did more to Justin. That's why I backed off. I just needed to be more aggressive in the passing zones and the drafting zones, and I probably could have fought for maybe top 2, but I don't think there was anything for Chris. It just sucks starting back in the field and not having a chance to fight later in the race when I just wasn't aggressive enough.
That is Stanton Drums 94, who was able to come home third. We're going to move on to the second race of the evening, which also is here at Watkins Glen in the touring cars. Alright, so moving on to our second race of the evening. It is also at Watkins Glen, also using the short NASCAR version of the racetrack. Sans the boot. It's going to hopefully lend itself to some tight racing in these touring cars. Touring cars have been really tight all season long, really been able to put on a good show. Imagine they are going to be able to do so here as well, especially with the way this racetrack is designed. Certainly not the most difficult racetrack, but racetracks that aren't typically difficult actually tend to put on some really good racing. But anyways, let's get this race set up for these guys. And while I'm doing so, let's throw up the old schedule. As we have one more week remaining. Our finale will be after the Christmas and New Year's break. Week 8, they'll be racing at Road America in the GT cars and Brands Hatch, the tiny Indy race course, in the touring cars. So that'll be really fun to watch. Really excited for that. Love Road America, one of my favorite racetracks, and I love the way that Brands Hatch races. It's basically like the Martinsville of road courses. Let's get this thing set up. Let's see. Give these guys some pretty dry air to look at. Yeah, I don't want to do that. There we go. And as you can see, we use 2 times wear, so we can actually have a little bit of a tire strategy. This will be a track where I imagine the softs are going to be more of a player than they really have been all season. I will not be surprised if the entire field is on softs for this race. I believe all of this is correct, so let's get this lobby started for these guys. my car does not meet the restrictions. I am a big old cheater. Let's move to the big old purple Mercedes-Benz. So here we are. 10 minutes for practice and qualifying. Remember, practice and qualifying is the same session. They have an opportunity to put 2 laps down. Let's pull up the actual... There we go. They will have 2 laps to put a qualifying... Or they have 2 laps of qualifying that they can run during this 10-minute session. And we'll also have the opportunity to practice, which a lot of these drivers are going to use the beginning of this practice session to get reacclimated to this car. The touring car, for anyone who does not understand, drives completely differently than the GT car. The touring car with front-wheel drive, a lot tighter. The car wants to go to the wall when you get on the throttle, whereas with the GT car, the rear end wants to come around when you get on throttle with the rear end drive. So a lot of reacclimatization, yeah, whatever, Mai Tai. While they're getting ready, let's actually get out there and make a lap for fun. See how the racetrack is handling, how it feels. So here we are, heading down into, I believe, turn 7 is what they technically call it. Into the final corner. Coming back onto the straightaway. Really important to get all the speed you can out of corner exit there, hitting the start-finish line. Remember, we are running NASCAR rules, but those don't apply to qualifying due to Forza's rules and the way they work and the system of dirtying laps. So in the race, they'll be going all the way to that teal-colored wall. Up the S's, full throttle here in these cars. It's a little tight in the left-hand part, so you got to get that right, or else you're going to have to get on the throttle and lose a ton of lap time. Ooh, rear end gets a little light there, especially on cold tires. Really fast through the carousel in these cars. Really try to keep the power down. Down the straightaway, foregoing the boot. And this is a corner that you got to get right. You don't want to go too far out because you got to set up for the final turn. That blue wall once again comes out at you really fast. Really difficult to ascertain where it is in these right side machines. And that is a start-finish line, and that is a lap around Watkins Glen in the touring car. So anyways, 6 minutes remaining in qualifying. No one has put a lap time down yet, and that makes sense. Nikki 2000, the first to put down a qualifying lap with a 1:19.3. And all these drivers going to be on the softs with as little fuel as possible to maximize their lap time. And I imagine these drivers, again, going to be on the softs for the actual race itself. 1:19.3 continues to be the lap time that paces our qualifying field, but of course, we only have one driver with a lap time down. 5 minutes remain in this practice session. Sounds like we have some drivers shifting from practice into qualifying. And we have come away from the GT cars, which are completely different, so this practice session being used to get used to driving a front-wheel car around a very fast racetrack. Now we're starting to see some really fast times put down. Jacob X99 with a 1:16.3. Legit also matching his 1:16.3, but with an 8. It's unfortunate that we can't actually spectate the qualifying laps. Really wish we could get out there and watch these guys make these laps, but it just isn't the way it's going to work. See, almost everybody out on the racetrack. Nikki 2000 was able to improve to a 1:18.9. That will be his session. Pair of 16.3s still pacing the field. You can see a 17.2 and a 17.3 put down by Stanton and Mayor of Bag City, respectively, but those times were dirty, so they get moved to the back of the field. It's akin to having your lap deleted in F1. Jacob and Legit still holding on to the lead, but we still have over half of our field yet to make a lap. We almost have, we're almost done with practice, though. Exactly 3 minutes remaining in this session. Skyline 4 able to move into the second spot. He's going to be one of our heavy hitters in this series. Also the winner of our GT race earlier this evening. JC, who has been excellent in the touring car portion of our series, with a 1:16.2, puts it on provisional pole. And a few more drivers still yet to make a lap. JC holds the pole with a 16.2, Jacob with a 16.3, Skyline with a 16.3, Scarface with a 16.3, Legit with a 16.3. 4 drivers separated by less than a tenth of a second. Honestly, 5 drivers. Stanton with a 4.14 there. So 5 drivers within a tenth of a second. Frozen Toes ran a 16.6. That puts her in the 7th position at the moment. With Mayor of Bag City in 8th. Leaf Justin 24, who has struggled in qualifying in these cars this season. He has a 16.9 on the board. Nikki 2000, who was our first driver to put a lap time down with his 18.9. That has him in 10th. Dion 4 Dub, Ferrari Nut, and Sober David yet to put a lap time down. And we're at that point in the session where if you have not started a lap, you will not get another one in. These times super tight from 1st to 10th, separated by 4 tenths. But 2nd through 6th, 7th, 2nd through 7th on top of each other. 2nd through 8th on top of each other. A 3.17 to a 4.29. Just a little over a tenth. Separating 7 different drivers in this qualifying session. "22 seconds remaining in this session. Dion 4 Dub put down a 17.2. It was a dirty lap time, so that'll put him toward the back. Here we go. We're about to hit the grid here. Ferrari Nut was able to move into the 4th position. We'll go through the entirety of our grid, and then we will be ready to go. Alright, here we go. Getting close to green flag at Watkins Glen for the 2nd race of the evening. JC on the pole with a 1:16.2. That might be his first pole of the touring car series where he has won twice. JC Jacob, his brother, is P2 with a 16.3. Skyland 4 rolls off P3 with Ferrari Nut alongside him in 4th. Scarface 3D will be on the inside of row 3 with Legit outside of him. Stanton Drums 94 rolls off 7th, while Leaf Justin 24 starts 8th on the grid. Frozen Toes 24 will roll off in the 9th position. Outside of her in row 5 is Mayor of Bag City. Sober David 89, our resident Irishman, will roll off in the 11th position. Nikki 2000 is in 12th. And Dion 4Dub will start shotgun on the field in 13th. 13 drivers for 13 laps. A lot of unlucky numbers here. Hopefully that means we have a good race. I don't know how that all works, but here we go. We will go green immediately on the countdown. It will be a standing start. And then we'll barrel off into turn 1, and we'll see. These drivers can handle the beating and banging. We're likely to see it down in the initial turn. Listen on the radio. There's a lot of casual talk. Getting through the loading screen here. And here we go. 2, 1, and green. They are off. JC with a nice jump, but behind him, Skyland looking to find a way through as he knifes between them. JC has to give up the ghost, falls all the way back to 4th. Jacob, 99, able to pull out to the lead for a brief second, but it's Skyland 4 who comes out into the lead, works his way up through the S's. Jacob looking to his left side, doing everything he can in that Mercedes-Benz. The Mercedes-Benz has not been a strong car here in the touring cars this season. But so far, JC giving it a run, or Jacob giving it everything he can. I'm getting those two confused because they are brothers, Jacob and JC. They're 3 wide at the exit of the bus stop, bouncing off of each other. You can see that was Jacob going off the racetrack, head on into the barrels. Just an unfortunate turn of events. Also, you can see Frozen Toast 24, something has happened to her. She also has fallen well off the pace. Meanwhile, Skyland 4 holds on to the lead while JC and Ferrari Nut leaning on each other. Meanwhile, Legit and Stanton, it looked like side by side coming down the straightaway. No, that is Ferrari Nut and Legit. Legit able to make the pass. Ferrari Nut tries to work his way back around the outside. Stanton trying to find a way through. Leafs Justin also in this battle. These cars all over each other as they head through the S's. Fox camera crews zooming so far into those race cars. Legit not able to find a place to lunge, or actually that's Ferrari Nut not able to find a place to lunge on JC. He's working hard, but Skyland, who was able to pull away to the lead, he is now under fire from JC. JC with an excellent carousel. Side-by-side battles for 1st and 2nd and 3rd and 4th as they head down into the penultimate turn. Skyline able to use that inside lane to be able to pull back out in front of JC. JC not able to pull off across. Skyline hard into the wall. Oh, a lot of contact, a lot of damage there. No, Skyline able to save it, but he's going to lose a ton of ground as they head down into turn 1. Ferrari Nut with the momentum of those two bouncing off of each other. He's going to be able to pull out to the lead. Oh, JC gets turned by Legit. Not sure how that happened. Not sure if Legit came up or if JC started to try to turn down if he thought he was clear. But either way, those two make some serious contact, and that is going to hurt JC's race if that does not bring out a caution. Ferrari Nut now with a healthy lead is Legit behind him, is using every inch of racetrack and every inch of not racetrack. Stanton Drums and Leafs Justin with some contact now. Mayor of Bag City and Leafs Justin with a little bit of contact. They are leading on each other for that third position. Oh, that's given Legit some breathing room in the second spot, but you can see Skyline and Scarface now, those two bouncing off of each other, not afraid to use each other as they go to the corners. Leaf Justin bouncing it off the wall. Stanton Drums running a defensive line down the straightaway. Justin with a little bit of a side draft. Judging by the lack of pace, I believe a yellow flag has come out. Yep, we are under caution for the first time this evening and the first time of the touring car event. A lot to unpack there. Wish we could go back and watch a replay of what happened between JC and Legit. Either way, that car has seen better days, but not too much damage, I don't believe. Yeah, none registering on the telemetry, so no harm, no foul as far as performance goes, but as far as track position goes, that is absolutely not what JC needed, as he is in the thick of not only the overall points battle, but he is a major player in the points battle for the Touring Car Championship as well. So not what he was looking for at the start of this race. We'll see if anyone opts to pit here. Depending on tire strategies, this might actually help these drivers make it all the way on this set of tires, so we'll see what kind of strategy we'll have. We'll learn what kind of strategy these drivers were expecting to employ if they come in here. I believe soft tires would easily make it all the way without wearing out. I don't believe you. Anyways, Ferrari Nut, once again, he comes down pit road. Mayor of Bag City opts to stay out. Stanton Drums stays out. Leaf Justin stays out. Scarface, 7 of our drivers opt to stay out there, while 6 come in and pit. We'll find out if that is the right call. There will be, I believe, 7 laps remaining in this race. When they go back green, I believe that's going to be enough time. It's going to be barely enough time. I believe it'll be 8 laps. They will have completed 5 laps if we go green here. I have to make up a ton of ground. That's about a car a lap for Ferrari Nut 94. He's going to have to be incredibly aggressive. Skyline 4 also opted for that strategy. We'll see if it pays off for these guys. But all of that hands the lead to Legit, who might be leading his first laps of the series this season. Not 100% sure on that, but I believe so. Behind him is Mayor of Bag City and Stanton Drums, and I have to believe that this is I like the strategy that these guys are on. Getting really tight here, so I think they are going to end up going green. Let's see if we can pull up some car telemetry here, find out their speed, maintaining a 60 mile/hour pace speed. Check out the telemetry on their tire wear. Tires look good, so definitely no issue there. It'll just all be about how much speed and how much pace and how much grip these guys have. Coming around, once they hit that pit wall, it will be on legit to restart this race. He goes as soon as he can. It's a nice jump on Mayor of Bag City. We'll have a 2-car length lead as they head off into turn 1. We'll see what kind of craziness we see behind legit. Very orderly first turn, but they're going to fan out on exit. No moves made yet. Everyone's still single file. There is a little bit of a battle back here. Ferrari Nut working his way around Dion 4 Dub. He's up to the 6th spot. Now going to try to get up to the 7th position. So Ferrari Nut able to get 3 spots in the span of 1/2 of a lap. Still riding on board Ferrari Nut. You can see the battle for second heating up as Stanton Drums working on the back of Mayor of Bag City. Not able to make that pass yet. Not close enough to try to make a lunge. Mayor of Bag City runs super wide, able to get back to the left side. Legit runs a little bit wide through the final corner. That allows Mayor of Bag City to pull up to his rear bumper, about a 1/2 a car length between the two. Well, he peeks. He takes a peek to maybe intimidate the car in front of him, and that almost works. Legit almost goes wide. Might have been a little slow through the center of that corner. That slows down Mayor of Bag City enough that Stanton Drums and Leaf Justin both able to make a pass. They bounce off of each other. Meanwhile, behind him is Ferrari Nut with those fresh tires. Mayor of Bag City basically shoving Leaf Justin down the straight. As they head off into the bus stop, he's going to have to let off of him eventually. Now he has to concede that position to Ferrari Nut, who has already worked his way into the 4th spot. These positions are going to come a lot tougher as he gets toward the front, but Leaf Justin trying to find a way around Stanton Drums, not able to do so. You can tell these guys are feeling desperate. They see these dudes with the fresh tires coming up to them. Mayor of Bag City able to make that pass back on the orange the orange Audi. A pair of Audis, they're battling for the 4th position, but it is the Hyundai of Ferrari Nut 94 who has made its way up to the 3rd position. Now Mayor of Bag City gets a great run off the final corner. These 3 on top of each other. Ferrari Nut uses Stanton as a pick. Mayor of Bag City sends Stanton into the corner a little bit harder than he probably wanted to go. Mayor of Bag City gets the wall. That's going to allow Skyland, who has worked his way up through the field as well. He's going to move into the 4th spot, but it's Ferrari Nut 94 trying to get his first win in the touring cars this season. He is in the 2nd position. We still have 5.5 laps remaining in this race. Plenty of time for Ferrari Nut to make this pass, but a great bus stop by Stanton Drums. Maybe a little bit of a timid one out of Ferrari Nut, because both him and Skyland were able to make up ground. But either way, thought Ferrari Nut was about to go for a ride there. JC, who was one of the drivers who helped bring out that yellow flag that we just had, he is rebounded to the 7th position as he is now working on Leaf Justin, who is free-falling a little bit here on this restart. Mayor of Bag City trying to maintain, but it is now a 4-way battle for the lead. Let's get back up here as legit Ferrari Nut, Stanton, and Skyland could be covered with a blanket. Legit with a nice first corner. He's able to pull off a little bit of a lead. About 3-4 car lengths on Ferrari Nut 94, but it's Ferrari Nut leading that pack. Oh, you can see Stanton gets loose. Not sure what happened there, but he ends up running through the dirt, able to save it. Side by side behind them, but they are side by side for the lead. Ferrari not able to go around the outside of Legit. Will Legit make some contact? No, they don't make contact. A nice job of Legit to use that shorter line. Now we'll have the outside. Will he be able to make the move? No, there will be 3 wide. Almost. No, Legit able to clear him. He goes back down to try to break the draft. Runs a defensive line. Ferrari Nut going to try to work his way around the outside, but not going to be able to do so. Skyline all over the rear bumper of Legit. Ferrari Nut barely clear enough to get down. They are bouncing off of each other for the 5th position as well. Scarface has been able to take it away. All of this jostling around for position has allowed Mayor of Beck City to run these guys down. He is currently in 4th. But it's Ferrari Nut 94 who has finally managed to take the lead away from Legit 14. Ferrari Nut 94 who has been so fast all season long, every race in both series that we run in this championship, but has only won 1 race, and that was in the GT cars. Has not been able to take victory here in the touring cars. Will he be able to do so as they nearly bounce off the wall in the final corner? Legit looking low, trying to find a way around this Hyundai, but not going to be able to do so as he has to defend from both Skyland and Mayor of Beck City behind him. Trying to run a little bit of an alternate line from the vehicle in front of him, try to see if there's a way to cross over. Not able to do so. Now able to look to his right side, going to try to dive it in. A great run down the back straight here as they head down into the bus stop. Going to clear him. A nice looking pass from Legit as he's able to take the lead back from Ferrari Nut. Meanwhile, those two have been able to leave that group of 3 behind him. Ferrari Nut looking everywhere. When they get back to the start-finish line, there will be 2 laps to go in this race. The battle for 3rd heating up. Is Skyland trying to find his way around Mayor of Beck City, but hadn't been able to do so. But it's Ferrari Nut in the lead, looking to the left side of Legit once again. Legit dives it in there. Tries to use up as much racetrack as he can, but not able to get the power off that Ferrari Nut is able to. Ferrari Nut takes the lead back. Legit in 2nd. Mayor of Beck City doing everything he can to try to hold off Skyland for 3rd. Down the backstretch, not quite close enough to try to lunge his way in. A little bit wide through the second half of the bus stop. That's going to put him in the dirt, and that's going to allow Ferrari Nut to get a bit of a lead here. Mayor of Beck City has managed to pull away from Skyland for just a little bit. Leaf Justin has been able to get around Scarface for the 5th position. Stanton Drums has fallen back to 7th, and JC has stalled a bit in the 8th position. Here we go. White flag, Legit in striking distance. Was he maybe trying to use the slipstream? Was he playing games with Ferrari Nut? Is he a little bit faster? Can he use the draft to get around him? He dives it into turn 1, loses a little bit of ground, goes a little too deep. They head up the S's. Ferrari Nut doing everything he can to hold off Legit, trying to do everything he can to try to win his first touring car race of the season. We're going to have to go into the bus stop. Legit missed it last time through and lost ground. Will we be able to get it right this time? Ferrari Nut very smooth. Legit goes wide, goes through the dirt. Once again, going to lose some ground. Off the final corner, they are continuing to battle for that third position. Will Legit make a move? Will he try to dive in, or will he use the bumper? Oh, he drives through him. That car acts like a concrete block in front of him. And Ferrari Nut 94 going to come off the final corner. He's going to be able to hold him off and win his first touring car race of the season. Mayor of Bag City holds off Skyland for the third spot. Leaf Justin comes home in fourth. Stanton Drums rebounds from a bit of an excursion through the bus stop to finish sixth. Scarface seventh. JC was in eighth. Jacob ninth. Nikki 10th. Frozen Toast 24 and 11th. Sober David 12th. And Dion Fordub makes up the tail of our field in 13th place. So an exciting race there at the end. Much more competitive than our GT race earlier in the evening. We will see what these drivers thought about it as we go in there to talk to them.
Standings a little bit.
Yeah, Kiss it. After this, I will, I guess you're still here. I said I was gonna,
Where did
I'll party
Jared
up
end up
with you
finishing
and
that
do
race?
some racing or
Hey.
something.
Oh. Okay, so
Yeah,
unless
these
I
guys
get
are all-
access
these
to
guys
Jared
are all
next
gonna go
week,
to
next
PUBG.
race.
Well, these guys are all
sorry,
gonna go to
Jared.
PUBG. The next race is for like another fucking 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Unless I get killed next week for some oddball reason, that's title over.
I mean, talk about a Christmas
Well,
miracle.
I'll be there, dude, so I don't know. Pretty unpredictable, and I like to get revenge, I guess.
Well, I'm going to get out on track and go backwards.
dude, as soon as
Hell no,
you were
never
like
do that shit.
unresponsive at like 6:30, I knew you were stuck in fucking California traffic. I was like,
I was
dude, this
pissed.
fucking...
Bro, I was so mad, and then it just
Oh,
kept
are you
getting
a
worse
Cali
the whole
boy?
way home. I'm not a Cali boy. I'm from New York, but I live in California, yes.
You're a Cali boy.
All right, let me
Don't even say that. Nope.
let me come in here and grab these guys right quick just for funsies. Ferrari 94, you finally won a touring car race. How do you feel?
Finally, took long enough.
Well, that's Ferrari 94. No, I'm kidding. Talk about the battle there at the end. That looked like a lot of fun. You were hanging it out there for everything you could. Able to work your way through the field on the fresh tires. Finally, a strategy you made or you chose panned out for you. How was that racing there?
It was good. I knew the softs wouldn't last from the offset, just pushing like we had to, or even trying to save it. It just wasn't going to work out. So the yellow just made it to where we could. Chris and I both went into the pits, and I'm assuming both went on the softs, and yeah, it made all the difference there because it made us able to make passes and actually get by people. Weren't able to really draw away from the guys in the front once we got there, but I think the Audi had the measure of us a little bit, just on the ability to turn here at high speed. This thing it's a bit of a boat, so we need that soft tire to make it a level playing field here.
Well, that certainly was an exciting finish. Once again, your first race, your first win here in the touring cars. But how are you feeling? How does it make you feel for next week? You're in the championship hunt, and yeah, that should give you some confidence going forward.
Yeah, that's kind of leveled out a little bit the overall title fight between, at this point, Chris and myself for next week. So it should be pretty well even. I think he's probably going to have the measure of me in the GTs because of just the track layout. But then we come to the touring cars, and anything can happen, as we've seen. So, as far as the touring cars go, Jarrett not having a great night down in 8th there, got involved in an accident. So I think that sets this one a little more in my favor. So we'll see what happens at the next race.
That's Ferrari Nut 94, his second overall win and first in the touring cars. We'll head over to Legit, who was able to finish second. You gave it all you had there in the final few corners, just wasn't quite enough. Talk about your race and what more you needed to come home the winner tonight.
Yeah, I about threw it away there a couple times. I hope that was, I'm sure Ferrari Nut saw it. I passed him going through the bus stop, and my downshift is what saved me. Because if I didn't downshift when I did, my car was definitely going to spin. But it was definitely a well-fought race. I don't think the tires were as significant of a strategy call because the caution came out. So as soon as the caution came out, I wasn't even worried about saving them. And it was more or less like keeping Ferrari Nut behind us, because as soon as he got on softs, I knew he was going to match our pace and that he was going to be fast. So once he got in front of me, this Audi really likes the draft. So this track was very accepting of that, going up the back stretch into the bus stop. I was able to get huge pulls on him, and then going out of the carousel, that's pretty much where I was able to draw even on him every lap and then stay with him into the bus stop. So, well, good race.
Yeah, we saw you on in the back half of the bus stop doing some agricultural work. Do you have a job lined up in landscaping after all this is done?
No, my guys back at the shop, they do a great job at sealing up the front of these cars and making them as a knife edge. So if I have to go off track every once in a while, them guys keep it solid.
Well, in all seriousness, the solid race out of Legit. He comes home in P2. We'll move over to our third place finisher, Mayor of Bag City. Familiar to the podiums in the F1 League, as well as Ferrari Nut. Here he is on a podium here in our Forza League. Talk about your race. There were some crazy moments. You were in the middle of a bunch of battles. Talk about some of that happened tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really fun track. I'm glad we did this tonight. As has been mentioned, like, the draft was super strong, so I had a pretty poor qualifying. I was just a couple tenths off. I never felt great in the 2 laps that I did. So fortunately, we had good draft. It was a lot of fun. This car at this track, like, it was a lot of fun passing everybody and battling everybody and being conscious of that. And I think my biggest move I did a couple times was I would get on the brakes a little early in turn 7 last turn and get down to third and then, like, accelerate through the apex, and I was getting a better drive off if I wanted it than, like, anybody to get a run down to turn 1. So finding my spots where I could kind of bait somebody into going a little bit deeper and using my momentum through an apex and onto the other side was something I really tried to focus on to pass a lot of people. I think on that caution lap when Jarrett spun, so counting passing him, I went from 8th to 3rd, in part because that spin, but then also just finessing my way through each braking zone and up through the S's and stuff. So the Audi is super fast here, especially once I got a good tow from somebody in front of me. So it was a lot of fun. I'm glad to hear that at least a couple of my battles were caught, because I felt like, I mean, shoot, we're all under a blanket, so I'm sure everybody was seen doing everything. But it was a lot of fun just racing wheel to wheel with everybody. I think everybody had a good, clean time, except for, Jarrett had some bad luck. But outside of that, it seemed like we all had a pretty good time at this track too, which is always really important. So it was a lot of fun going from 8th to 3rd. I did not expect a podium. I really thought I'd finish, in the mid to the back. So that was a really good result for the team, and really happy to be talking to you again.
All right, that is Mayor of Bag City coming home with another podium in the series. That is all for tonight. I will be with you in a couple of weeks, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks, for the finale. We're taking off for Christmas and New Year's, so that should be a lot of fun.